but there are many who might be encouraged and even inspired by the fact that heavyweights like Atiku Abubakar, Peter Obi, two of Tinubu's biggest challengers in the last election, being the face of this coalition, in addition, of course, to the likes of, as you mentioned, Nasir El-Rufai, Rotimi Amaechi, David Mark, Rauf Aregbesola, Uche Secondus, etc.
Well, one thing that these people all have in common is that they all lost in 2023. All of them, all the names that you mentioned, they all lost in 2023.
Yeah, but so what if they lost?
Yeah, so if you form a...
I mean, many of them don't even believe.
Can I answer your question?
Lost.
If you form a losers convention, so, I mean, why should I be afraid of you? You're forming a losers convention. I mean, why should I be afraid of you? It happens all the time. In the United States, we see people forming a losers convention. When you gather negative thinkers together, there's more negativity.
Right. Well, that's one way of looking at it. The other way is that there is a certain logic behind it. They don't want to split their vote, which collectively beat Tinubu hands down in 2023. I mean, Tinubu got 37% of the vote. Atiku and Obi combined got 54%. So on that score, would you concede that they appear to have learned some lessons from the last election, because both Atiku and Obi feel that they might have won on a joint ticket in 2023?
That means you're not up to date. Because in his last interview on channels, Peter Obi said, and I'm quoting him, "I will contest the 2027 election."
But a joint ticket, let me just make this point. A joint ticket doesn't mean that they're necessarily running that. In other words, that they're combining forces.
Yeah, but if Peter Obi says he's running, if Waziri Atiku Abubakar says he's running.
Well, he hasn't said that.
Waziri Atiku Abubakar has not said he's running. Oh, please. Anyway, but let me just finish now. So if Peter Obi says that he's going to run, if we are seeing from every indication that Waziri Atiku Abubakar wants to run, if we are seeing Amaechi submitting a proposal to the ADC officially for a one-term presidency, I mean, have you seen any coalition there? There's no coalition. What you're just seeing is egos, different egos. The man, Peter Obi, is based on what has happened in the past. Is very unlikely to get the ticket of the ADC, because if you see what's happening with the ADC, he doesn't have that clout within the ADC. I have a good idea who's likely going to get the ticket. It's likely going to go to a northerner. And the man has said, I'm definitely going to run. So what you just said, that premise is wrong. There is no coalition. There is no joining of forces. This is just egos going here, and there.
But would you concede, Reno, that with all these people coming together from various parties, both ruling and opposition, this is arguably the biggest shakeup in Nigerian political history since the APC came in, some 12 years ago?
How can it be a shake-up when you cannot shake up your own state? Tell me, which of these people controls their state, that their governor has gone with them? Name one. You cannot, because it doesn't exist. Rauf Aregbesola in Osun State doesn't control his governor. Peter Obi does not control his governor. His governor is very virulently opposed to him. Nasir El-Rufai has been indicted by the Kaduna State House of Assembly. So which of them? I'm never going to
but Peter Obi still won the state. Well, and won a lot of other states.
Yeah, he won the state.
In spite of not controlling those states, as you put it.
Yeah, but...
I mean, the suggestion from you is that if you have a governor, in other words, you almost seem to, without putting words into your mouth, hearken back to the old way of doing politics in Nigeria, that the governor is the person who clamps down on the voting capacity of the state. I mean, when people are free to cast their votes for whoever they want to vote for.
So we're talking about, let's put first things first. We're talking about getting the primary ticket. So we are not seeing any of them controlling their governors, controlling their states. So these are just malcontents. These are disgruntled people. These are losers coming together, like I said, to form a losers convention.
Okay, let me put it another way, because you need a strong opposition to sustain democracy, and Nigeria seemed to be heading inexorably towards a one-party state.
And then look at that. You're saying Nigeria heading towards a one-party state.
I said it seemed to be heading.
Yeah, but you're saying that Nigeria seems to be heading towards a one-party state. Why are you saying that? Because more people are joining the APC because of the performance of President Bola Tinubu.
Well, I don't think it's because of the performance of President. This is nothing personal. I'm just an observer.
That's your opinion.
And certainly my observation is not that it's because of the performance of President
that's your opinion.
You see the way Charles checkmated and slammed Reno Omokri. I'll come to that shortly. But let me put this as simple as you can get it. Peter Obi is the heartbeat of the ADC coalition. If Peter Obi does not get the nomination, forget about winning the 2027 election. It is as simple as you can explain it. So if Peter Obi does not get the nomination, Tinubu wins. That's as simple as you can explain this coalition. The life and death of this coalition. It's as simple as that. But again, let me go back again and I will come back to what I just said. You can see the way Charles slammed and checkmated Reno Omokri, trying to say that people are defecting to the APC because of the performance of Bola Tinubu. No, it's not. They are defecting to the APC because they don't want to be rigged out in 2027. If you want to argue against that, go and look for the words of the governor of Akwa Ibom State, Governor Ino. He said it's simple. Go and find out. You will check. But I want to explain this thing about the fear of Peter Obi and why the APC and all their talking heads are fighting every day to make sure that Peter Obi doesn't get the nomination. Remember when one of these APC analysts, Jesu Tega, who's now dead, mentioned that in 2023, part of their calculation was the fact that Atiku and Obi were going to split the vote and Bola Tinubu will win. Plus rigging that went into it thanks to INEC. What you find out is that they are now shook. The APC, they're shaken to their core when the coalition eventually came together. And they knew that the only other option that they have right now is to make sure that Atiku becomes the flag bearer. That's why they're pushing that narrative, which obviously became viral and loud when Kenneth Okonkwo pushed it as well. That narrative that says that the nomination should go to the North. Why? Because if the nomination goes to the North, it will be two 80-something-year-old men fighting and jostling to become the president. Peter Obi would have to move away again and to another political party, maybe LP, and then they'll split the vote again and Bola Tinubu wins. So they're looking for that split of the vote again, a repeat of 2023 to make sure that Bola Tinubu emerges. So in the absence of that split of the vote, if Atiku decides to, again, that's the condition which Atiku must understand, you need to drop out. If Atiku decides to say he's not running because he's become older, he's become 80 years plus, as of 2027 when he goes for the next election, it means he does not have the capacity, the strength, the wherewithal to do the demand of the Nigerian state. It now falls into the hand of Peter Obi, who obviously becomes around 60-something still. That's something close to 20 years age difference between Bola Tinubu and Peter Obi. Peter Obi has the ideas, is stronger, is younger. He has the likability. Nigerians prefer him across the entire 6 geopolitical zones of the nation. Nigerians want him. That becomes a big problem for Bola Tinubu. It does not want it. They don't want it. So they're making their own political calculation around that thinking. That if Atiku becomes the flag bearer, what happens in essence is that we cannot use ageism for them. I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying you cannot say one is younger, one is older. They are of the same age bracket, so they contest. And they know that Nigerians will not be interested because Nigerians will be like, they are the same people. They destroyed Nigeria together. So, but if it's Peter Obi, it becomes a problem for Bola Tinubu because Nigerians will galvanize towards him. So they don't want that. They're trying to push for that idea, that talking point, that the nomination for the ADC will go to the North, and Peter Obi will be the Director General of the Atiku campaign, according to Daniel Boala. Can you see their thinking? I'm helping you break that down so you understand this is part of the calculation they are making. But Atiku needs to be smart, especially everyone around Atiku's camp needs to go and tell him Peter Obi is the heartbeat of that ADC coalition. If Peter Obi does not get that nomination, Nigerians will leave the ADC alone and move away from ADC. The same way Nigerians didn't want PDP at that time. So without wanting to repeat that mistake, bearing in mind that Nigeria needs salvation, not just from the hands of Bola Tinubu, from the hands of corruption, where we can steer the country in the direction we want it to go. Atiku needs to step down. So all the people within Atiku's camp, including Kenneth Okonkwo, who are now coming on TV to talk about Atiku becoming the preferred candidate, should desist from it. It's a smart thing to know that the simplest thing everyone can see that is obvious is that the person that has the biggest support across the entire nation is Peter Obi. That's the person you should be going for. And put a vice president next to him that can command more votes from the northern region. And then they can steer the Nigerian state into a system where it becomes about ideas, not about regional politics or identity politics or religious politics. Let's don't fall into the hands of this sentimental pursuit of this APC because they want Atiku. Bola Tinubu prefers to run against Atiku than he prefers to run against Peter Obi in this coalition. So you can't afford to make that mistake. And that idea of controlling states, like Reno Omokri put it, you can see the mindset of these guys who have been in Nigerian political sphere for so long, where governors, wherever they defect to, that's where the state goes to, because they know it's about rigging the state, not about what the people vote for. I just want to touch on that briefly. So put your comments in the comment section. Let's have this conversation about what you think about what Reno said and what I have said so far. But in total, Peter Obi is the heartbeat. Any other thinking outside of that, APC will win. Any other thinking about that, ADC will crumble like a pack of cards. So you cannot afford to give the ticket and say you're giving the ticket to Atiku. Atiku was past that moment. The fact that we're still talking about Atiku is in itself is crazy. So Atiku needs to come back. Apart from this suspense that is testing the temperature, he needs to come out. Young Nigerians have come out from channels like this one to tell him, you need to step aside. So I want to encourage people around him, his family members, go and tell your Baba he needs to step aside. It's past his time. Nigeria needs to move forward. He holds a major card in this whole thing. So he needs to do the right thing by Nigerians to help steer Nigerians away from the hands of Bola Tinubu so we can move Nigeria in the right direction. So again, put your thoughts and your comments in the comment section. Let's have a chat. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I will catch you up in the next video. God bless you. Bye-bye for now.